Angeles in this way. It's really remarkable what's happening at this time. And I think we'll look back at these times we're passing through and see the amazing opportunity that Baba and Drama have given us for so many things. One is, of course, for one's own personal efforts and making deeper efforts, but also the interconnectedness between the Brahmin family, which is happening as never before due to technology. And so a new and unexpected scene in the drama. And for us, we pass through everything knowing that all is prefixed and all is happening according to the plan. So I think let me start by introducing myself, as probably many meeting for the first time. So just by way of full introduction, I was born in Africa, and when I was about 7 years old, then the family moved to London. And a year or two later, my parents came into Guyana in the east of London in a town called Ilford. And so since then, I started going to Baba's house and sitting at the back and listening to the classes. Of course, I didn't understand Guyana too much in those early years, but there was just a feeling that these are my people and this is where I belong. And one day when I was around, I think about 11 years old or so, the brother in the center who has since left the body, his name was Yogeshbhai, and he said to me, well, why don't you come in the morning class? And I thought morning class was only for bade log, for the big people, for the adults. I didn't think children were allowed. But nevertheless, the next morning I started. And I always liked study anyway. Even at school, I was quite studious and quite serious in the study. And so for me, going to the morning class first, and then afterwards coming back home, putting on school uniform, going to school. So for me, it was really like a study. And I enjoyed understanding the Murli, listening to the churnings of the other Brahmins, of course, older than me. And so I felt very, very fortunate that I have this extra education compared to my school friends. And not just an extra education, but also an extra life. Because by the time my friends had woken up, I had already been awake for maybe 4 hours or so. So I was very thankful to Baba for this great opportunity to have more of a life than my school friends. So just to cut a long story short, when I was around 21 years old or so, then Daddy Janki asked me to move up to Oxford. This is not where the retreat center is, but before the retreat center, there was a small center in the city of Oxford. And so I was there for 10 years, along with one other brother from Australia. And then in 99, then Daddy Janki had another idea. And she said, have you been to Istanbul? And I said, no. Then she said, will you go for 3 months? I said, okay. And those 3 months are now 20 plus years, and I'm still here. I know also that Geeta Ben spent some time here as well before me. And so it's a place which is the meeting point of East and West, and lots of history passing through here. So what I thought I'd do is share some thoughts and churnings about the Murli. Then we can see if we have any comments or questions as well. So when I saw the date of this Murli, from the early days, this is from the early Avyakt days, it was clear that these are the most powerful Avyakt Murlis that Baba has spoken. 69, 70, 71, and so on. And of course, there's a good reason for this, because Brahma Baba had just become Avyakt. And so he was sharing his insights and his experiences of how he became an angel. And that in itself is quite stunning, that in addition to God, the Supreme Soul, a human who became an angel comes back and tells us how he did it. I mean, you have to pinch yourself to think, wow, we are literally being taught, trained, guided by a human who became an angel, and also by God himself. And you can't get a better package than that. Plus, of course, when the head of an organization passes away, then it's a very important time to pave the way forward. And so Baba was giving very intense training in how to deepen one's own spiritual efforts in order for a new phase to begin. And so Baba's strategy as a leader, or as even an administrator, coming through very clearly that the most important thing is really how to get your stage together. And the title of the Murli has been given as the signs of one who is free from bondage. And in a way, this really is the whole aim of Raja Yoga, to reach the stage of Jivan Mukti. We know that that's how we will be living in the golden age, but Baba is not satisfied with that. And he says, Jivan Mukti now. He wants us to experience that state of liberation in our lives now. And the wonder is that we have examples in front of us of those who have reached that stage. And the best and most profound example is, of course, Bapdada himself. And when I was reading the Murli, in my mind was just the scenes of Bapdada in Madhuban, in Diamond Hall, in Om Shanti Bhavan, in the meditation hall before that, and how we have this window to perfection right in front of us. And all we have to do is to observe very closely Bapdada's features, the drishti, the movements, and just how he orchestrates the whole activity. And you understand what really liberation and freedom means. Think of this, that Baba comes, he speaks sometimes in a gathering of 20,000, and he satisfies every single person in the Diamond Hall. And also then after the Murli, Dadis come on the stage, and we used to walk past Baba. VIPs come to meet Baba. Songs are sung. So much is going on. And it's literally another world at that time. He transports us into the subtler regions. But if you look at his face and his drishti, even whilst he is taking part in all these activities, it's so clear that this one, it does not belong here. This one comes from another world. This one is free. And no matter how nice it is here, no matter how much we are enjoying, but you can't hold him. You know that he's here for a while, and after some time, he will go. And it's remarkable that our eyes have seen those scenes of how the one who is always in the state of freedom, how he incarnates, he creates a paradise for us for a few hours. And
Sorry, Yogeshbhai, can you just your volume little bit higher?
yeah, he changed this. How is this?
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. All right. So I was just remembering, those scenes of Bapdada and how that's really the example in front of us, how he's always in that state of freedom. And so for me, over the years, um, it's one thing, of course, to hear Baba's Murli directly from Baba, but even more impactful is observing his face, his features, and feeling the vibrations. So he comes and delivers the whole package of the guidance, but also the experience of what true freedom looks like. And so let's begin to explore some of the things which came up in the Murli. And one main thing Baba was saying was that it's easy to finish the attachment to bodily relations and also to possessions. But the difficult thing, the thing which takes a lot of effort, is to finish attachment to the consciousness of one's own body. This, of course, is the main effort. Now, think of these two sentences. Is it that the soul is in the body, or is it the body is in the soul? Now, we know that the soul is inside the brain, and many have clarified how that works, how soul and body work together. But also we could say that the body is inside the soul, in the sense that everything that belongs to the body, the bodily characteristics, we have placed them inside the soul, and we have developed a deep attachment to them. And this, of course, is the cause of all sorrow, whether it's been on a personal level, in the Copper Age, in the Iron Age, or whether it's on a global level, and the things that we see today. And so there are two forms that this thing called ego takes. And let's explore these. One you could describe as body consciousness, which we translate as body consciousness. And body consciousness is where the consciousness is shaped by the characteristics of the body. That means the appearance of the body, the height of the body, the weight of the body, the skin color of the body, the current health situation of the body. So all of these things which apply to the body, I apply them to me, the soul. And so that's what we term as body consciousness. The consciousness being shaped by the physical characteristics. But then the other one, which Baba has described as more subtle and it takes more time to deal with, is what we call as the arrogance of the body. And that's where one becomes, for example, proud of one's own intellect. Or one becomes proud of one's talents, one's abilities, one's skills, one's achievements, or even being proud of the virtues that I may have. One can even be proud of being humble, about this. Being arrogant about being humble. So how deep that is, and to really be egoless, I think means to conquer those forms of arrogance of the body, where truly this word I has been completely extinguished, removed from the soul. Of course, it's a very high destination, which is why it's one of the three terms that Brahma Baba used at the end. You know, when he talked about being nirakari, nirvikari, nirahankari. And maybe it's the final obstacle between the human and the angel stage to go beyond that consciousness of I. But how to do it? Well, if you look back at when the Yagya started, of course there was very little knowledge in those early days. And because the knowledge was little, that's all they had to work with. They could go deep into one point of knowledge. What I find sometimes happens nowadays, because there is so much knowledge, we have an ocean of knowledge, and we have wonderful classes from so many of our dadis and seniors. Sometimes we tend to just touch the surface of lots of different points, rather than taking one point and going deep into it. And I believe a Murli like this one, it's telling us that take this one point, go deep into it, deeply explore what it really means to be free, to really be soul conscious. Once Baba had said that, think of the ocean and ask yourself, who is it that goes and plays at the surface of the ocean? And who plays there is little children. They jump, they push each other, they throw water, they splash each other. And so children are playing at the surface of the ocean. But someone who is a deep sea diver, someone who is an adult, excuse me, someone who's an adult will go deep into the ocean. And so Baba had said, do not just play with the points of knowledge, but research them, go deep into the knowledge. And it's when you go deep, that's where you find power. That's where there is silence. That's where there is stillness. That's where you extract the energy contained within that point of knowledge. And I think it's that level of depth which we need to go into to get the energy to really shift our sanskars. And so how to go deep into a point of knowledge? Well, here is a suggestion of 10 steps that one can take to go deep into a point of knowledge. Now let's take any simple point. The first one, which relates very much to this Murli, and that's the point of I am a soul, I am a peaceful soul. Now, what do we do with this point of knowledge? Well, you could say the first step is you simply hear this. That knowledge goes into your ears. Now, how many times have you heard Om Shanti? Thousands of times. And you could say, I've heard so many times, I'm a peaceful soul, but so what? Okay, first step is to hear. Second step is to know. And I could say, yeah, I know this. I know I am a soul, and I know peace is my nature. But simply to know something doesn't really change anything. It's like, I know this is a lamp. I know this is a chair. I know this is a plant. I know I am a soul. Nothing changes. It's just like having a piece of information. Okay, I hear it, I know it. 3, do I accept it? Now, to accept this point of knowledge means, okay, so this is not just some general theory out there which applies to everyone, but I accept that this point applies to me. This is personal. I accept I am a soul. I accept peace is my nature. So this knowledge is beginning to enter into my inner world. I accept it. Okay, I accept it, but then number 4, do I believe it? And now to believe something is a big step. Because when I believe I am a soul, and I believe peace is my nature, then it's going to act upon the belief system which I am already carrying. It's going to challenge that belief system. And that old belief system, it doesn't finish quickly. Not only have we picked up and developed limited beliefs in the Copper Age and the Iron Age, but also we have a deep attachment to some of those beliefs. So when my belief meets with Baba's truth, the question is, what happens? Do I allow that truth to make my belief collapse? Or do I let it step away and say, well, not yet, I'm not ready yet. I want to keep my belief. Consider this. Which approach do you have to making spiritual efforts? So here's approach number 1, for example. Do you believe that you are a person who was born in a certain city, in a particular country, and you went to a certain school, maybe you got a certain job, maybe you got married, maybe you had a family, and now you are practicing to be soul conscious? Do you believe that? Or do you believe that actually you are a spiritual energy? You are a soul who has come from another world into this world around 5,000 years ago. You entered into a paradise and you have been through many lives and you forgot who you are. And now you are remembering once again, I am a soul, I am a spiritual energy. I'm an actor in this big theater of life. So which is the premise? Are you a person trying to be soul conscious? Or are you a soul now trying to forget the person consciousness?
The second one.
Second one, yeah. Yeah. Can you see the difference in the efforts? When I say I, which I am I is really speaking? Is it the Yogesh I? Is it really I, the soul, I, the spiritual energy? Basically, as souls, we are all aliens. We have come into this world, playing our parts, but we forgot. So to really believe that, to take on board this idea that my home is the soul world, I'm an actor in this theater stage, and I've been playing my part for 5,000 years, it's time to go home. And one has to really sit with these thoughts, and spin the cycle in this way for the knowledge to really seep into, to really be absorbed into the intellect. Of course, this is what Brahma Baba did in those early days. The full knowledge was not available. The details of the cycle, the tree, Even the knowledge of Shiv Baba was not clear in the early days, but what he did know is I am a soul, Jashoda is a soul, Narayan is a soul, his wife and his son and other family members. So he practiced intensely to change his vision and make the soul conscious stage firm. And if that first lesson is made firm again and again and again, then so many of the ups and downs that we sometimes have, they just begin to level out. Okay, so this was step number 4, to believe. All right, so then step 5 is you believe it, but do you understand it? So to understand means now you are churning. How amazing, how the soul and the body, how they work together. It's so incredible. There's nothing more amazing than the human body. It has all these systems working together. Blood circulation, respiratory system, digestive system, all at the same time. But it does not work unless I am sitting in the driver's seat. How amazing how the soul, a non-physical energy from another world, comes and interacts with this flesh and bones of this world. So just to churn that, how I receive 5 types of information through the 5 senses, and that comes up to me into the brain. I access it, I choose to respond. And Baba used to have this phrase, Vare me. How wonderful I am, how wonderful is the soul. So just to sit and really understand what the soul is and how it is using the body to be on this world stage. Okay, you understand it, but then number 6, do you practice it? Practice or to apply soul consciousness. And for this, there is no substitute to the simple practice of I'm the driver, this is the car, I'm the actor, this is the costume. And other analogies one can develop. They're all designed to break the soul's attachment to its physical identity. And we have to do this very intensely to cut this unhealthy attachment we have created to the physical identity. And secondly, of course, is developing and practicing the soul conscious vision, which means when I see another person, another human being, really looking beyond the ego masks, really to see the soul who is behind that. And of course, you have to practice this, especially with those with whom there is some attachment. Maybe children, maybe parents, maybe husband, wife, brother, sister. Where the attachments are, where the karmic accounts are, there especially I have to practice the soul conscious vision and see this person I have been seeing as my mother or father for, let's say, 40, 50 years. Now I see this is my soul brother. And of course, the same practice with everyone you come into contact with. Intense practice needed to change the vision and to change the attitude. And then the result of this is the next step, and the result of practice is experience. And experience means that your feelings will begin to change. And you begin to notice, in this situation, I used to get irritated when this person spoke like this, but now I feel very cool. In some other situation, I would get a bit nervous or feel some anxiety, but now I feel very peaceful. Or when I saw or heard about injustice or dishonesty, it used to really bother me inside. But now I can see it from another angle. And so it means in our practical lives, in our day-to-day practical lives, we notice the feelings are changing. And that change is the result of the honest and sincere practice that I am doing. So that was experience. Next step, the result of experience is realization. I think this is step number 8. So you realize that point. And realization is such a thing that some call it as the awakening moment, or the dropping of the penny, or the aha moment, or the eureka moment, or the, hello moment. Just woke up. Yeah? You may hear many points in the Murli many times, but one day you feel, I heard this so many times, but I've just woken, I just realized what this means. And so realization is that the point has gone in so deep that now it just brings a change in my attitude. Everything changes. And that is step number 9, which is transformation. That point of knowledge is like opened the door, and it's transformed my vision or my attitude towards, for example, towards myself, or towards another person who maybe I found difficult, or towards situations that I used to run away from. Now there's a transformation I see differently. And then the final step is step number 10. Now what do you think is step number 10? Any offers, any suggestions?
Soul to soul.
You
Sorry?
become soul.
Yeah,
Silence.
you become.
To go into silence.
To become
You're
an embodiment.
Yeah, the embodiment, you become the Swarup. Yeah? You are the embodiment of that point. And then it's like, it has become natural for you once again. And Baba has said, that's the stage we have to reach with all these points of Gyan, is to reach the point where you become the embodiment. And this is what we have seen in our dadis. After decades and decades of practice, they became the embodiment of soul consciousness. And that's why we all run around them. We want to watch them, we want to see, what does it look like? What does humility look like? What does pure love look like? What does self-respect look like? So we see in their behavior and their interactions, how they talk to others, because that's the example in front of us. And of course, the same thing applies to all of us. Baba wants each one of us to reach our complete stage. And that then, of course, is the revelation of the Father through the child. And so I would suggest that for every point of knowledge which really touches your heart, take each point, go very deep into it, extract the power that is there, and that power then can shift our sanskars. And then what else was there in the Murli? Well, another point Baba talked about was this thing about being detached and loving. And detachment is a very high stage of spiritual development. Detachment means you're right in the situation, which may not be to your liking, but the situation is not bothering you. The situation is not affecting you. And not just that, but you are using the situation to make yourself grow, to make yourself blossom and open. Now, usually what happens, when people are in situations they don't like, is they tend to distance themselves, distance or disassociate, run away. But that's an indication that I don't have enough spiritual power. But detachment, you're right next to the situation. You're in the situation, or you're having to be with some person you are working with, whose scars may not be similar to yours, but you use that to make yourself grow. And hence, the sign of true detachment is love. You're able to generate genuine feelings of love for the other person or the other situation you're in. And again, how many times have we seen this in our seniors, studies, and so on, that no matter what another is like, that one is being loving and is able to generate good wishes for the other. The other day I was reading one in a class somebody was sharing that once somebody had asked to Dadi Janki about a person they were finding difficult. And they said to Dadi had said something like, you should have good wishes for that person. And this person said, well, I don't see anything good in that person that I should have good wishes for. I don't see anything. That person is not worthy of my good wishes. And Dadi had said something like, well, for you to have good wishes, it should be because you want to become Sato Pradhan. You want to become divine. It shouldn't be as a reaction to somebody else's behavior, because then I'm still in the old paradigm. But why should I be good? Why should I try and generate good wishes, pure feelings? It's because that's part of my journey towards becoming free, towards becoming complete, towards becoming an angel. And so, it changes the perspective of why we make these efforts. It's part of my personal journey. And what else is it that attracts that love? And once Baba had said in the context of Madhubanivasis, he said, why do you find Madhubanivasis so loving or so sweet? And what is behind that is selflessness. When one is doing selfless, unselfish, or desireless service, that's really a big part of true detachment. Because I'm detached from my own desires to get something from someone. And I believe that that's really a big part of freedom. Freedom from my own desires to get something. And then, naturally, the love of others comes towards the individual who is genuinely selfless. And that such a soul then is very, very useful to Baba, because such a soul is able to then direct others towards Baba rather than towards the self. I remember Baba saying about Dadi Prakash Muni once. It was actually in one of the Avyakt Murlis maybe 6 months ago. And he said, this soul has never had any selfish desire for the self in all the time that she did service. And it's because of that of course, Baba was able to use her for taking care of the entire yagya. And so I need to check myself, when I do something behind that, is it really I'm doing it with the intention to serve? Or is it also mixed in, with some selfish motive for, I want some appreciation, I want to be recognized, I want to be admired in some way, I want to be noticed. And so where there's a mixture of motives, then of course that cleanliness is not there. Of course it takes time to reach that state of real cleanliness, real desirelessness. But why do we do this? It's because we we want to join the angel club. To get entry pass into the angel club, the qualifications are high, the bar is very high. And we're already, of course, on the road. We are becoming angelic more and more as we make efforts. And so true detachment, also detachment from my own desires. I remember seeing one of the first feelings I had when I saw Bapdada, observed him very closely. Three things came to mind. I saw royalty, I saw beauty, and I saw grace. And it was like just, out of this world. You could never imagine that someone could be so powerful, so wise, so loving, and yet completely desireless at the same time. Of course, God is God and the angel is the angel. But to see that example, and you feel, oh, that's exactly how a person should be. That's how I should try to become. And hence, Baba was saying, 1 month's result can be achieved within 1 hour. Why? Because of that stage. The power of the stage just gives the message. And so Baba's like inspiring us to really move towards that consciousness of true freedom. And what else was there? He talked about the detached observer. He said, this is one effort that you forget to do. But I did remember him saying in one Murli that the detached observer stage it's the main consciousness to have in the practical life. And why do we need to be detached observers? Because there are many other soul actors around us, and everyone has their own part, their own specialities, their own weaknesses, their own drama. And if you're living somewhere on a cave by yourself on a mountain, maybe you don't need so much to be detached observer. But when you're living with others, when you're serving, when you're working together, when you're in a team, everybody has a different style, different intellect, which of course is normal. And so there, the stage of detached observer is very necessary. And it's like, you go to any theater performance and you sit in the audience, but you need to be sitting in the right place to really enjoy the theater. If you're sitting right at the front, maybe, it's too much. It's like the play's on top of you. If you're sitting right at the back, maybe you can't see the details. If you're sitting in the sides, in the wings, maybe you can't see the whole stage properly. But if you have a good seat, then you enjoy the whole performance. And so too, Baba had said, if you're sitting on the seat of the detached observer, then you would enjoy every scene of the drama. Whether that scene is of someone, jumping with joy, or it's a scene of someone who's left the body, or something that's, let's say, not so pleasant. And of course, when we're in the detached observer stage, it allows us to maintain our inner freedom of our thoughts and our feelings. And the sign of being detached observer is then I can contribute. I can be useful to another person or to a situation if I've kept myself free and untouched on the inside. Then maybe just one or two more things. We'll see if anybody has comments or questions. Baba talked about regard and the importance of giving regard to others. And in one particular Murli, I remember he said that if you just practice giving regard to everyone, all the virtues will come into you by themselves. Just practice this is to give regard to everyone, whether young, old, Lokik, Brahmin, someone you know, someone you don't know. But it's like, this is like a fast track to developing virtues, is to have this attention to give regard to every single person. And regard is, for me, regard is an amalgamation, combination of love and respect, both together. And regard, of course, it's not only to do with thoughts and feelings and attitude, but it's also in practical life, in actions. For example, keeping your word, or noticing somebody else, giving somebody else a chance. And in this regard, he mentioned the mantra of you first, belly up, keep others in front of you. And it's a real practice to do. When there's an opportunity to do something, putting others in front. And he said once, this was one of the main virtues of Brahma, why Brahma Baba became number one, because he put others in front of him. So the giving of regard is it's essential for any kind of success to take place. And then just touch upon the last point, when he talked about Raz, the significance. And this reminded me of something wonderful that came in one Borg message many years ago, where Baba was looking at the Brahmin family, and he saw Brahmins with 3 different kinds of intellects. And he said, there are some who have a baby intellect. Now, think of a baby. If something goes wrong, if something does not work out as planned, what would someone with a baby intellect do? What does baby do?
Cry.
Cry. Baby cries very easily. So a person with a baby intellect gets upset very easily, again and again. Now he's okay, and after a while something happens, again he gets upset. Then a few days goes, is okay, something else happens, again he gets upset. So baby buddhi, baby intellect. For example, if you're sitting in a gathering and there is a baby there, everyone's attention goes to baby. Is baby okay? Is baby hungry? Is baby tired? Is baby sleepy? And so everybody's attention goes to keep the baby happy. And so such souls who have a baby intellect, they're sometimes described as high maintenance Brahmins. A lot of attention, energy is needed to keep the soul happy. Then, next level up is one who has a youth intellect. So let's take the same scenario. Some plan is made, something happens, but it didn't work out, or the plan is changed. One who has a youth intellect, what would such a person do?
Disappoint. Like they want everything to be had very fast in their life.
Yeah.
They reject.
Yeah, with all these things for sure. Baba had said one with a youth intellect will quickly start blaming and seeing whose fault is it, who made the mistake, who has to be punished. And so it quickly gets into this kind of thinking. Therefore, one with a youth intellect begins to create confrontation because of that kind of thinking. Of course, youth also has a lot of energy, but that energy has to be properly channeled in order for it to be used constructively. So when we too quickly get into finger pointing and trying to see whose fault it is, that's the youth intellect. And that person has to be cooled down and say, It's okay, take it easy, let's see what happens. Then there is the mature intellect. Now, same scenario, something didn't work out, something changed. One with mature intellect, how would such a person behave in a situation?
They'll try to reason out.
Stay calm and find solutions.
Yes, yeah.
They'll say maybe it will, everything will work out.
Yeah.
No worries.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. One with mature intellect. Baba has said a mature intellect person remains calm and stable and cool because such a person doesn't only see the situation, but sees the significance beneath the situation. In other words, such a person is Razyuk. He sees the significance beneath the situation. If you see only the situation, you can get angry or upset. If you see the significance below, then you think, okay, today this seems to be a bad situation, but let's see tomorrow, there will be some benefit hidden in this. Sometimes something which seems to be bad may actually be very good. And so because a mature intellect can see the significance beneath, he or she remains cool, calm, stable, positive, and also makes others calm down. Now, how many times we have seen over the years, I'm sure Geeta Ben has seen with Adi Janki, something happens, we may get a little bit panicky, a little bit animated. She'll say, Shant raho, koi baat nahi, dekhenge. And you think, well, here's a situation, not working out. How come she's saying, be calm, be cool? Because she can see today this seems to be bad, but there is benefit merged in the situation. And you can't always see the benefit. Baba had given this analogy once that it's like there is this benefit hidden behind a curtain. He called it the curtain of loss. And he said, if you just look at the curtain, all you see is loss. But there is benefit, there is a treasure store hidden behind it. And to see through that curtain, you need three things. You need patience, because it may take some time before the benefit is visible. You need tolerance, and the situation may not be exactly as you like it to be. As you know the phrase, no pain, no gain. You can apply this to taking an injection. If someone wishes to recover quickly from an illness, an injection goes directly into the bloodstream. But you have to tolerate the pain of the injection to receive the serum, to receive the medication. If you can't tolerate the pain of the needle, then you don't receive the medication. So some tolerance is needed in order for the benefit to be visible. So patience and tolerance. And third thing you said is you need an introverted stage. It's not to get too busy with the intellect, looking at the situation, trying to find what's wrong, who's wrong, or trying to blame, criticize. No. Introverted. Check my stage. Am I in self-respect? Am I having good wishes for those around me? And he says with these three things, what happens is you'll be able to see through the curtain and you'll see the benefit hidden behind that for you. And so I think these are also signs of one whose intellect is truly free. Is you're above the situation. You can see the big picture. And therefore, you don't come under the influence of the drama, but you observe the drama, understanding at the end of the day, it's a theater, it's a play, and the play is to be enjoyed. So ultimately, the real sign of freedom is happiness, and you're able to enjoy whatever scenes one may be passing through. Okay, so I have just five minutes left, and hoping that was useful.
I'm
Maybe
sure.
anybody wants to say or ask?
I'm sure now Yogeshbhai explained in such a practical way, you all will got your answer, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes,
Yes.
it was
No any
very
question?
enlightening.
Sir,
Or no
I
any
needed
question?
this today. Would you like to set an example? Thank you.
Anybody have just ask then?
I guess there is no question from me because I think you just explained it so precisely and step by step that I think I don't think so that we will ever going to forget it. Thank you so much, Om Shanti, and thank you, Baba.
Yeah, thanks to Baba.
Thank you so much, Bhai and Gita Ben, for organizing this. I needed this today so badly. And thank you. I appreciate it.
The last
Thank you.
point with the Murli is the Raksha Bandhan. So can you explain about that, Baba says?
He
For
talked
the
about
bondage.
yeah, but it was in the context of detached observer. No? He said that Raksha Bandhan is the bond of purity. He was saying Baba is tying the Rakhi on you of being the detached observer. So he was using that metaphor that for us, okay, purity it's already there. For Brahmins, it's already one of our principles. But then we really have to practice the detached observer stage. So, like every time you see a Rakhi, it reminds you of your pledge. So Baba's saying in that sense, remember to be a detached observer all the time.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yogeshbhai now
Thank
can conduct the meditations.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can conduct meditations and everyone can just merge into that Baba's love. And even if you have any question remain, in meditations you can see you will got the answer. So everybody can mute yourself so Yogeshbhai can conduct and you all will experience Baba's protection.
Can do video.
You all can, nobody's video can on because just right now you all can just turn off. Only you can focus on Yogeshbhai's forehead.
Okay, so let's start. So of course, the first thing always is I come to my seat of self-respect. I come to the center of the forehead, my eternal seat of self-respect. And I become aware I am the master of the physical body. I am the soul, the incorporeal, living energy. And now I turn my thoughts upwards towards the Supreme Soul, to Baba, the ocean of peace, the ocean of love. I, the soul, together with the Supreme Soul, in the soul world, in my sweet home, to be in the company, to be in the vibration of Baba, the Supreme, is to return back to myself. Baba, the one who accepts me as I am. Baba, the one who does not see my weakness. Baba, the one who knows me better than I know myself. Baba, the one who has been watching my entire story from the moment I came into the world up to this point. Baba, the mother, the father, the true friend of I, the soul. The one whom I can truly trust. The one who is deeply honest with me. The one who understands me, understands my mind, understands my heart. And the one who is ultimately loyal with me through thick and thin, through the days when I am at the top of the mountains, and also the days when I'm walking through the valleys. The real companion of the soul. Let me keep this friendship, this companionship with me in every moment. Om Shanti. Okay.
Om Shanti. Everybody can open your windows now. Camera.
So,
And thank you so much, Yogeshbhai.
okay, I would need to leave now. I have another.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, Yogeshbhai, and welcome,
you.
and see you then.
Om Shanti.
Please.
Om Shanti.